Vaccine safety is evaluated in two main ways. First, through clinical trials, and then through ongoing monitoring once a vaccine is available to the public. Clinical trials determine if vaccines are safe and effective, and typically involve thousands of participants. However, even large clinical trials are not large enough to detect extremely rare adverse events, events that may occur for every 1 in 100,000 or 1 in a million doses administered. Additionally, clinical trials are costly and lengthy processes, and it would be virtually impossible to recruit hundreds of thousands or millions of volunteers. Furthermore, clinical trials may exclude specific vulnerable subpopulations, such as pregnant women or immunocompromised individuals, for whom a vaccine may be indicated. This is why safety monitoring continues even after a vaccine is licensed. This ongoing post-licensure monitoring is what helps detect rare side effects, track safety in different populations, ensures vaccines remain as safe as possible, and that a vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh the risks. Before we dive into the specific systems used for post-licensure safety monitoring, let's discuss what a vaccine adverse event is and the difference between passive and active surveillance systems. Any health problem that occurs after vaccination is considered an adverse event following immunization. An adverse event can be a true adverse reaction, also known as a side effect, that is related to the vaccine, like experiencing a sore arm where one received the vaccine. It could also be a coincidental event that happened following vaccination, like having a new onset of a runny nose from allergies, which is completely unrelated. CDC's Immunization Safety Office, along with the FDA and other federal government partners, investigate adverse events that occur after vaccination. There are two types of surveillance to assess vaccine safety. The first is passive surveillance. Passive surveillance is when an unsolicited report of an adverse event is sent to a central database or health authority. In the United States, such reports are received and entered into the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, commonly known as VAERS. VAERS is co-managed by the FDA and CDC. The second type is called active surveillance. Active surveillance involves proactively obtaining and rapidly analyzing information from millions of people, usually through medical records. Active surveillance often occurs after a safety signal has been detected in a passive surveillance system. It's also used to detect additional safety signals that may not have been reported passively. The FDA conducts active surveillance using the Sentinel BEST system. BEST stands for Biologics Effectiveness and Safety, as well as the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services System, or CMS. These efforts complement those of the Vaccine Safety Data Link, or VSD, and the vSafe text-based monitoring system. Each safety monitoring system works like a gear in the overall machine that monitors vaccine safety. Importantly, each system has its strengths and limitations. Let's look at the systems in greater detail. VAERS is used by the FDA and the CDC to collect reports of adverse events, including possible side effects that happen after vaccination. This system relies on individuals to send in reports of adverse health events following vaccination, meaning anyone, not just healthcare professionals, can and should report adverse events to VAERS. This system accepts reports regardless of the plausibility that the vaccine caused the event, or the clinical seriousness of the event. It's intended to cast a wide net and not miss any rare events. This, as you can imagine, results in inconsistent quality and completeness of information. The system further lacks a control group, meaning VAERS is not able to, nor meant to, determine cause and effect. Scientists monitor VAERS reports to identify adverse events that need to be studied further. Reports of adverse events that are unexpected, appear to happen more often than expected, or have unusual patterns are followed up with additional, more rigorous research to determine whether the adverse event is truly related to the vaccine. When safety signals are identified through VAERS, other safety monitoring systems are engaged to study the issue further. While VAERS may help identify potential safety issues, other safety monitoring systems, like the Vaccine Safety Data Link, allow us to determine if a vaccine is in fact associated with a certain outcome and the rate at which it occurs. What are the strengths of VAERS? Anyone can submit reports to VAERS. It also serves as an early warning and hypothesis-generating system. For example, in early 2021, reports to VAERS prompted further study into whether mRNA-based COVID-19 vaccines were associated with severe allergic reactions following vaccination. Additional investigation showed that these reactions are quite rare, happening in less than 1 in 200,000 doses administered. What are the limitations of VAERS? VAERS cannot determine if a vaccine caused the reported adverse event. Reports to VAERS may lack details or contain errors. The system does not allow for a comparison of rates of adverse events in those who did and did not receive a vaccine because there is no control group. On that note, before we move on to our next system, let's review why control groups are so important. By comparing rates of an event in a vaccinated group to rates in a control group, you can determine whether an adverse event may be associated with vaccine administration or whether it's coincidental. The next system is the Vaccine Safety Data Link, also called VSD. It is one system that uses a control group to investigate vaccine safety. VSD is a network of 13 managed care sites across the U.S. with a combined patient population of more than 12 million people. VSD is often used to determine if safety signals identified in VAERS are related to vaccination. It can also identify safety signals through real-time monitoring. For example, VSD evaluates particular health-related outcomes that may be associated with vaccination and compares it to the expected number of outcomes in a comparison group. What are the benefits of VSD? The system conducts timely vaccine safety studies, including assessments of rare adverse events and longitudinal studies involving prolonged follow-up of individual patients. The VSD also uses a control group, allowing for the comparison of adverse events in those who did and did not receive a vaccine. It can compare outcomes among vaccinated and unvaccinated people. What are the limitations of VSD? It may not have enough patients to detect extremely rare adverse events. It may not capture vaccine administration data outside of the health system. Lastly, the VSD cannot determine if an association between an adverse event and vaccination is causal. The Clinical Immunization Safety Assessment Project, also referred to as CISA, is a national network of vaccine safety experts from the CDC, 7 medical research centers, and other partners. The project addresses vaccine safety issues, conducts high-quality research, and assesses complex clinical adverse events following vaccination through active surveillance. What are the benefits of the CISA project? It serves as a vaccine safety resource for U.S. healthcare providers and assists the CDC and its partners in evaluating emerging vaccine safety issues. It can implement prospective, multi-site clinical studies with hundreds of subjects and has the ability to recruit controls. The system can assess vaccine safety in subpopulations, such as pregnant women, infants, and children. Lastly, it receives detailed clinical data and biological samples from patients. What are the limitations of the CISA project? Small sample sizes may limit CISA's ability to study rare adverse events. Clinical trials can also be labor and resource intensive, and it can be challenging to recruit and retain subjects. Next, let's look at the post-licensure Rapid Immunization Safety Monitoring System, also referred to as Prism. This is the largest vaccine safety surveillance system in the U.S., with access to information for over 190 million people. Prism uses a database of health insurance claims to identify and evaluate possible vaccine safety issues. What are the strengths of Prism? The large patient population allows this system to identify and analyze rare health outcomes that would otherwise be difficult to assess. Prism is linked to some immunization and birth registries, allowing for more complete vaccine exposure data. Lastly, it also has access to denominator data for vaccine exposure, which allows the FDA to estimate a measure of association between a vaccine and adverse events. What are the limitations of Prism? There's a lag in time for accessing the Prism data. The Medicare population is not as well represented in Prism. And lastly, it may not be representative of those without insurance coverage. The next system we'll look at is vSafe. This is a newer active surveillance program in the US. It's a smartphone-based tool that uses text messaging and web surveys to provide personalized health check-ins after an individual received a COVID-19 or Mpox vaccine. Recently, it has also been used to monitor RSV vaccine safety. Since its launch in December 2020, over 10 million vSafe participants completed over 151 million health surveys about their experience following COVID vaccination. Data from this system have been included in more than 20 scientific publications. What are the strengths of vSafe? First, anyone can enroll in vSafe. It's also another way to quickly validate safety data from clinical trials or identify potential safety issues. This system has regular reminders to complete a survey to help capture more safety data. Lastly, the CDC can follow up with participants and submit VAERS reports as needed. What are the limitations of vSafe? vSafe data may not properly represent the post-vaccination experiences of the entire population. For example, early registrants were predominantly younger. Populations who might not have access to electronic devices to complete web-based surveys, like older populations and socioeconomically disadvantaged populations, were less likely to be enrolled. The last system we'll look at is the Biologics Effectiveness and Safety, or BEST initiative. The BEST initiative is an active surveillance system managed by the FDA. This system consists of large-scale claims data, electronic health records, or EHR, and linked claims EHR. Similar to VSD or Prism, the BEST initiative can be used for in-depth analyses if safety concerns are identified from other sources, such as VAERS. What are the strengths of the BEST initiative? The system has near real-time analysis with available data. Additionally, its use of a control group allows for the comparison of adverse events in those who did and did not receive a vaccine, so it can compare vaccinated individuals to unvaccinated individuals. It also can assess safety in subpopulations, like those with pre-existing conditions or pregnant women. What are the limitations of the BEST initiative? It may not be representative of those without insurance coverage, and it cannot determine if an association between an adverse event and vaccination is causal. Together, these systems form a comprehensive and dynamic safety net. They work in harmony, each contributing unique strengths to continuously monitor vaccine safety, ensuring that vaccines remain effective and safe for all. Several other organizations are also involved in assessing vaccine safety. The Department of Defense, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Indian Health Service all have systems to monitor vaccine safety and do vaccine safety research. The National Institutes of Health also supports ongoing research on vaccines and vaccine safety. Beyond the U.S., vaccine safety and efficacy are monitored globally. For example, the UK, South Africa, Israel, and Qatar have large national healthcare-related databases that allow for researchers to evaluate vaccine safety and compare health outcomes in vaccinated and unvaccinated groups, controlling for many factors. These data can validate U.S. safety monitoring results and provide insight into what signals in the U.S. vaccine safety monitoring systems should be assessed and monitored. To conclude, the foundation of vaccine safety rests on clinical trials conducted before a vaccine is licensed. It's then made stronger by post-licensure safety monitoring. When you understand the rigorous processes behind vaccine development and safety monitoring in the U.S. and the incredibly high standards that vaccines are held to, you can be confident that vaccines are safe and the benefits of vaccination outweigh any risks associated with vaccination.